If you've been affirming and visualizing and doing all the things, but nothing's showing up, the missing link, it could be your emotions. So they're either going to be fueling your manifestation, supporting you, or they're going to be quietly sabotaging you behind the scenes. Today, I want to talk about your emotional state and how it plays into your manifestations. Welcome, fellow Voyagers. Jess here with Odyssey Human, here to help you hack through the jungles of consciousness so you can discover the hidden treasures inside of you. And my friends, it's all there ready and waiting to be activated by you, through you, and for you. That sounds good. Please subscribe. We'd love to have you join us on the channel or throw this video a like if you found it valuable. I'd really appreciate that. And who am I? I'm Jess. I am a manifestation coach and also a neuro-linguistic programming master practitioner, which is essentially saying I'm a personal trainer for your mind. And I, on this channel, like to get deeper into the concepts so that you can have a really practical and applicable understanding of them and know that you are on the right track. So if you would like to work with me, I'm actually having a 50% off sale on my one-on-one 12-week coaching package. Details are below in the description box. There are so many myths about emotions. I really want you to understand the connection between what your emotions are and how they play into your manifestation. Because so many of us beat ourselves up because we're like, oh, you get frustrated, you lose faith in the law, you have a really hard time like believing that this is all real, and just keep banging your head. And there are specific reasons, emotions, how they play into this bigger picture. So let's dig into that today. But first, the myths. We tend to, in Western society, anthropomorphize our emotions. We're always talking about, don't bury them, but you have to unearth them. You have to really feel them to heal it. It's like a dead body that we have to hide. You have to honor them, erect a little statue and honor them, dig them up, bury them. You know, it's just, again, it reminds me of a corpse. But really, what are emotions? They're a strategy. Emotions are a strategy. This is the book. My mind blew open when I read this. You must get this book. You must read it. It essentially tells us that we construct our own emotions. And emotions, they're not hardwired into us. They are not hardwired into us. They're actually a strategy. They're a strategy that we learned based on our culture, because different cultures have different emotions. And so if they were hardwired into all of us as humans, we should all have the exact same emotions. But the research shows otherwise. You learn them as a strategy. You learn that when you got angry and you had a tantrum, sometimes you got your way. You learn that when you were sad and you cried, sometimes you got soothed. So what they're really telling you is your location. Your emotions are a GPS indicator. That's it. They're a GPS indicator. They tell you exactly where you are about whatever you're thinking about. Why does this matter? Well, because cutting edge cognitive science research is showing us that the same neurons that we use to navigate through physical environment are the ones that we use to navigate through our own mind. So when we think, we are actually mentally navigating. We have created a map. Our brain functions in terms of maps, not only in the world, but in our mind. We reproduce that concept in our mind. We create a cognitive map where on one area of the map is victimville, right? We're always hurt, offended, less than, sad when we're in victimville based on the story that we're telling and where our attention is going. And then over here, somewhere else, there's hero land. And in hero land, it's positive emotion turned inward. I feel good. Look at me. I'm amazing. I saved the day. You can clap now. There's also bad guyville, villainville, where we feel shame, embarrassment, guilt. We beat ourselves up. This is negative emotion turned inward. So, oh, I should have done better. I could have done better. Shame on me. Oh. And then the last place on our map, and there are many more places, this is just a generalized example, is Luckyville. Luckyville is positive emotion turned outward. So in Luckyville is I feel gratitude. I'm appreciating things, right? This thing outside of me that's so great. Oh, I'm, love and awesome. So these are just general areas of what your map might look like. But again, we all have individual cognitive maps, and emotions are a part of your map making. And I want to show you a little diagram that you may have seen before on my channel. But this is your godliness. Part of your map making, that is your godliness. This is your creative capacity, the actual components of what you have to work with as a creator. This is all you got. You have your attention, you got a story, and you got your habits. And the emotion precipitates out of the middle. It's like a little planchette. If you've ever played Ouija board, or at least seen it, you're familiar with the planchette, right? It moves around the board. Well, your godliness moves around your mental map. Your mental map are essentially, they're just concepts. This is essentially the neighborhoods of your self-concept, what you connect, the connections that you make. Where are their boundaries? Where are their roads? Our triggers are the places we go all the time, right? We go all the time so quickly. We get triggered so quickly that this stuff is already, it's just activated like that. So fast, so fast. That's actual neural pathways that you have lit up so much that when you get triggered, it lights up so fast, it feels like it happens to you. Meanwhile, the things that feel far away to you, like if you were to say, I am a billionaire right now, it doesn't feel close, right? It's not in a neighborhood that feels close to you. You don't go there on your mental map at all because you don't feel it's true. You would feel like an imposter if you were there. What we're asked to do, I'm going to put this down for a second. What we're asked to do is live in the end. That's what manifestation is. Live in the end. Capture a space of fulfillment. Using that planchette, go to a place of fulfillment and park there. Park there. And then we go about our life in other areas of our map, but our reference point for that particular topic is parked in a particular place on our map of I have it, it's mine, I'm not worrying about it, this is a fact, this is where it is, that's how it is, period. That's what we're asked to do when we're manifesting. And unfortunately, for most people, emotions are a distraction. This is what they are. They're a distraction because they're full body, they're full mind. When we feel an emotion, especially an intense one, it's very distracting. And we forget about fulfillment over here. We forget that fulfillment. And suddenly our planchette has zoomed across our mental map to a space that is no longer compatible with living in the end. We get frustrated. We lose faith. We give up. And but then tomorrow I start again because I'm feeling good. We tend to get very distracted and we take at face value our emotions. I want to remind you, your emotions are a strategy. And you can choose to either take that strategy at face value and be like, yeah, I'm going to be upset right now and I'm going to stomp my feet and I'm going to get my way. And that's what I've always done when I got angry. Or we can choose something different. We can choose to act differently. We can choose to just stand there and look around us and say, okay, I'm suddenly in Victimville right now or Angry Land, and that's okay. I know that if I just stay in place and breathe, it's going to pass. The feeling is going to pass. Because this is what we do. We mistake our emotions for who we are. We mistake them for who we are instead of where we are. It's all about where we are. So let's give an example of this. Let's say I am selling my house and I am having a conversation with the realtor. We're over at the house, it's staged, and my partner and I are there, and the realtor tells us, oh, we are actually closing, but we ended up closing for $10,000 less than we thought. I'm so sorry. My attention is on that conversation, and suddenly my thoughts go, oh my God, I just lost $10,000. I just lost 10 grand. I cannot believe this. And then my habits, when I feel like a victim, when I'm the loser in the situation, when I am at a loss or something has been taken from me, right? That was all about what my story was telling me. My habit is to get really pissed off. And I'm feeling that anger. I'm feeling that anger now. Okay, and now the planchette has moved, and that anger is telling me I am in victim land. I am firmly in the downtown area of victim land. Because remember, our emotions are telling us where that we are. They are GPS coordinates for our mental map. And so I just keep spiraling. I get up in my realtor's face and I'm like, I cannot believe this. How could you let this happen? I trusted you. And she gives me some excuse and blah, 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 but I'm not hearing it. I'm just so upset. I continue spiraling in that. So I'm digging myself even deeper by honoring that anger. I'm digging myself deeper in victim land. I'm really playing the part now. My habits, my behavioral habits, I've raised my voice. I am really upset with her. I turn to my partner and I'm like, I cannot believe this. And then I stomp out of the house. Can you see how then these cycles, these patterns just reinforce themselves? If you honor the emotion, you're reinforcing all of the constituent parts that went into locating you in that particular area of your cognitive map. So, what are the other options we have? Because if my manifestation was to sell it for $500,000 even, it wasn't 499,000, it wasn't $10,000 less, just like what she's telling me. I'm reacting, I'm reinforcing this new position of non-fulfillment. By letting this all play out on autopilot, by just believing it and letting it all play out, I am reinforcing an end state that is not my state of fulfillment. It's not my state of fulfillment. I told myself I was going to sell my house for $500,000. So this is what we do when we react to the 3D. We reinforce these habits, and then we are so firmly entrenched in that place of victim land, and we keep believing in the anger. Like, I'm angry because this is true. I'm angry because this is true. I'm angry because this is true. Whereas if we were just like, okay, cool, what would living in fulfillment, living in the end, actually feel and look like? So I may have heard her tell me that we sold for $10,000 less. I'm like, okay, that may be true. That's cool. I can accept that. But I know I always get what I want. My story goes to, I know I always get what I want. I know somehow this is all going to work out to $500,000 in my pocket. I know that. I feel comfortable in that. And what's my habit? I'm resting. I'm calm. I'm in fulfillment. And my feeling is I'm confident in my end state. I'm believing in my end state. So you can see how if you just automatically believe your emotions, they can often take you to a place that is not your end state. If I believed the anger that I was feeling initially about hearing that news of this isn't my end, then I am firmly planting myself in somewhere that's not the end state. Do not get distracted by your emotions. Again, you're being offered two pills. Two options. When you feel a strong negative emotion, they're telling you where you are. And where you are, you have some ingrained strategy of what you typically do in that place. When I feel victimized, I get angry, I chew people out, I stomp my feet, I raise my voice, right, to try and get my way. That would be the pattern that I typically do in the first example. And so manifestation is all about living in the end. And so we have to be able to stay in the end, right? And not get distracted and go other places on our mental map that feel like they are more true in the moment, because it's just a momentary thing. It is a momentary emotion where your emotion is offering you two strategies of saying you can take the blue pill and do what you always do. And you're used to just grabbing that blue pill, swallowing it, and just letting that cycle play out, play out, play out. But if you want to be a master manifester, this is what master manifestors know. They don't take the blue pill. They take the other pill. They take the other pill where they can stand in that emotion. They can feel it and say, I am feeling really angry right now. I feel like I am standing in Victimville and my perception is looking out from Victimville and being angry, but that's not the strategy that I am going to choose. How we really manifest is from our deeper state of being, our godliness, of all of these combined. Where are you genuinely? Are you genuinely in the end? Or are you genuinely deep down, if you were to take stock of what is happening in all these areas, are you genuinely believing that the 3D has more power than you, and the minute something ruffles you out there, you're gone, you're out of the end state, you're in somewhere else? Frustration, overwhelm, giving up, losing faith, questioning, doubt, anxiety, fear, all these other mental ghettos that are places that you go to that distract you from living in the end. That's it. That's the question. Because not all those choices, going to this other place on your mental map, believing it's actually true, and then making your decisions from that point, you might not be ending up back in the end. You might be ending up in somewhere totally different. So this is what we have to do. This is what we have to understand about our emotions. We're being given two choices in the moment of feeling a strong negative emotion. Do what you've always done. Just play it out. Become this automaton that gets angry and they stomp their feet. Or fearful or sad or whatever you feel that's pulling you away from the end. Or we can stand in place and just recognize, I'm feeling this emotion. I am getting GPS coordinates flashed at me that I am somewhere other than where I want to be. You can literally just stand and observe yourself. Just observe yourself. Step back into the position of observer as you're feeling these emotions and say, this isn't where I belong. I'm not going to go there with you. It's the belief. It is not the feeling of the emotion that can be problematic. It's your automatic belief in the emotion, because when you suddenly believe you're in Rome, then you're doing as the Romans do. Oh my God, I'm in Rome. And then you're buying the t-shirt and the hat and you're waving the Italian flag and you're fully in it. You've been pulled away from the end. You're in a totally different spot, acting out totally different outcomes based on behaviors and actions and attitudes that you are basing on that emotion. So it's in the belief. Do not take the emotion for face value. Take it as information of, do you want to do the same thing you always do when you feel this emotion, or do you want to do something different? It's a wake-up call to say, stand in place, observe what you're feeling, but don't take the bait. Do not take the bait. Do not go into a spiral where you're then acting out and you're making decisions from there. You feel how overwhelming that is? It's so distracting. You don't have to believe. You don't have to believe the emotion. You can be like, I'm feeling you, but I'm not going to go into the habit. I'm just going to stay here in attention. I'm just going to witness and observe this feeling. Just going to witness and observe, but I'm not going to transform into the person who's doing the strategy of the emotion and then throwing myself off track. That's a choice you can make. That's part of your godliness. So I know this video was helpful to you. If you want a more detailed explanation of how to do this step by step, grab my free tool below. It's always available to you in every video. I offer it to you for free. And this is how we support ourselves in manifestation, or we sabotage ourselves. We get distracted and we end up somewhere else because we calibrate from where we are, right? That emotion is motivation to keep doing all this stuff, to keep spinning. But we can just kind of go into a place of attention, of just watching, be like, okay. And then going back to our end state. I know this is going to work out for me. I know I've sold my house for $500,000. I know that money is mine. I trust it. And I feel fulfilled now. Even though that realtor told me, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, I accept it. I'm like, cool. Well, thank you for doing such a good job. I'm good. And then you go home and then you get a phone call later and she says, oh, guess what? The seller decided to throw in that extra $10,000 for XYZ. And then you're like, yeah, awesome. So grab the tool below. Thank you for watching. Drop a comment. I love to engage with you. And have a great day.